space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Hi and welcome to part 2. Right, it's time for me to make the 3 roulardes. So I'm going to make a basic sponge recipe. I'm only going to show one of these because it's basically the same thing 3 times, except one's chocolate and has a couple of extra things added. So we'll do the chocolate one on camera and the 2 vanilla separately. So basic sponge recipe is really simple. It's what's known as a 1-1-1 recipe, and that's because it's 1 egg to 1 ounce 25 grams of flour, 1 ounce 25 grams of white sugar. I'm going to do this in my food processor for the whisking of the eggs and the sugar together, because I'm not going to stand here for 10 minutes whisking bloody eggs to get them fluffy, and I've tried this and my food processor gets loads of air in. For the chocolate one, we have some nice cocoa powder, and also a little trick is you add a little bit of coffee in as well with a chocolate sponge, because the coffee brings out the chocolate flavour more. Obviously for the vanilla sponges I've got a little bit of vanilla extract. Don't buy essence, buy extract. Essence is completely fake. And I've got some butter melting, or in my case clover, and we'll just be adding 1 tablespoon to each sponge. I've got my oven preheating to 180 degrees centigrade. So we start with 4 eggs. A 100 grams of sugar. Whack our lid back on and set it going. So a couple of minutes later, and this is nicely whisked together. You can see the air bubbles on top. It's never going to go thick like a meringue. We're just looking to get lots of air in there. So now we bring over our mixing bowl. Pour our mix in. Just give it a last whisk with our actual whisk. You can see all the air in that. Loads of air bubbles. So now we get our plain flour, always sieving. Our cocoa powder, if we're doing the vanilla, we just add 1 cup of our vanilla extract here instead of this cocoa powder. But I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder. And a level teaspoon of coffee. Gently sieve that in. A few lumps left. Throw them away. our melted butter. Just 1 spoonful. Remember, we're 111 on this, and that goes into the butter as well. Just gently now fold this together. Remember, I'm not going to do the vanilla ones on camera, so you just, instead of the cocoa powder and coffee, we substitute 1 cap of vanilla essence. Never ever ever use vanilla extract. Sorry, never ever ever use vanilla essence, use vanilla extract. So all we're doing is incorporating this flour and cocoa powder into the mix, trying not to knock air out. Want to keep this as aerated as possible. Can't see any flour left, so that's mixed as much as I want to. We don't want to over mix this. Notice I'm just folding, I'm not going at it hammer and tongue. So our baking tray, already got some grease proof paper. Just gonna pour this mix in. Again, we've been very gentle how we even pour. It's all about keeping air in the sponge, because our raising agent is literally the eggs. We've got no bicarb, no baking powder, no self-raising flour. So just gently ease our sponge mix right to the edges. You can still see the air bubbles in this. It's very thin and it's meant to be that way. And this is now going in our oven for 18 to 20 minutes. When I practiced this, I left the chocolate one in for 22 minutes and it had gone slightly dry, so 18 to 20 minutes is all it takes. I'm going in to, actually I'll drop this, yeah. Drop it down. I'm going into the centre of my oven, 18 to 20 minutes, and I'll set a timer at 18 minutes. Right, so my 18-minute timer has just gone off. So here we go, having a check. And this looks absolutely amazing. Like, bear in mind, I put it in the oven, then set a timer. Timer's gone off, then I've taken out, so it's probably had about 19 minutes. So now, the trick with a roulade is to roll it while it's hot. So, we shall take it out of its baking tray. Here we go, very quickly. Flip it over. We've got fresh grease proof ready. Look at that. Feel lovely and soft. Nice sponginess. So, get our old friend amaretto, and we want to sprinkle over. We're not trying to soak the sponge because we don't want soggy clumps when we come to eat it, but we want to give it a bit of a drizzle so it'll just help keep it moist. And then while it's still hot, this is straight from the oven as you've seen, we roll it up. And we do this while it's hot because it'll put memory into the sponge of being rolled up in a cylinder, so when we come to fill it later, it already knows it's meant to be a cylinder. So already in greaseproof, just over with a clean tea towel afterwards, and that now needs to cool completely. So I'm going to get the other two sponges made, the vanilla, it be exactly the same, let them cool, and we'll get back to you with starting to fill these in probably another, we'll see how they are after an hour, maybe 2 hours. Right, so cool down, so time to start my filling. So gently unwrap, tea towel's clean still, which is good. Don't need that anymore, throw it in the bin. So we have our sponge cooled and been rolled. So I've bought these Jane Asher frostings for the fillings because I honestly can't be bothered making my own, and it's even more time, and when you've got them so convenient, they'll do the job. So should probably left this out in the fridge for a bit first. I reckon I need about 1/2 to 3/4 of one of these tubs. So we're spreading. Don't want it too thin, but we don't want it too thick either, because like, people have got to be able to pick it up and eat it. So what, I'm about 3/4 of the tub in, and I think that's plenty of filling. Get a good chocolate hit. Going up to the edges, like we're going to trim these edges off, so that's not a problem. And make sure that it's as even as possible. This is some double decker that I've chopped up. So just, like, it's quite hard because it's just out of the fridge. But this will be a nice sort of, like, this will be at room temperature when people have it. So that nougat will be all soft and just be like a surprise treat when people bite in. It'll be, oh, what's that? Again, spreading it out. My sister-in-law did the tasting of all these, and she's no idea of these extra bits I'm adding into fillings. She just thinks I'm putting frosting in, because she's good for testing cakes. Right, so that's all in. It's gently lifting up. Slowly folding. Right over. We've got a nice roulade. And as you can see, because we already rolled this while it was hot, there's not a single crack in that cake. It is going to be covered, but if you want the roulade, which like your Swiss rolls, you're doing something like that at home, this is how to do it so your cake stays looking nice. Right, so second flavour, using vanilla. Same again, about 3/4 of a tub, which is roughly what I've got left in this one, which is handy. So I'm going to get all of this out. Same again, spreading it nice and even. Up to our edges. Exactly the same as we did with the chocolate. And this time, I'm using some strawberry compote. So I'm just gonna dab it, try some diagonal lines is what I want. And I'm hoping when we cut into it, that'll give it a sort of a ripply effect. And again, oh, I might have overdone it with the jam. Over. And there we go. And the last one I'm doing is caramel. You see me do it now. And this one I'm topping with some ground up Werther's Originals, just to give that sort of bit of actual caramel in there. Right, now we've got all our cakes cooked, 3 roulades rolled. It's time to start assembling and decorating. So I'm going to start with the saucer section. Going to move that bit to the back. That's got that little dent in because the hull will go there. We've got this for the bridge dome, and as I said, I need to cut this down because it's too high. So just straight through, serrated knife. And that'll sit on top like that, and I get to eat this bit later with my cup of coffee. So I'm going to start by, what have we got? We've got a block of marzipan. And then we've got 2 blocks of icing. It's actually not making my own, bought it in, it's so easy to do. Same with the marzipan. Another time I may show you how to make marzipan, but not today. So I shall clean my surface first. Lots of just cake crumbs. What a surprise. So I'm going to start by rolling out some marzipan to cover all of the saucer, and then rolling out some of the icing to go over the marzipan. So I shall get that rolled out, covered, and we'll have a look at the saucer section afterwards. Right, that's the saucer, marzipan, iced, and I've done my first ever attempt at painting on a cake, airbrush, edible paint, and use the stencil for cut up into the pieces that I wanted. Not the greatest, but not the worst. It shows what it is. So I'm going to get my roulardes ice next. Right, so I've done the 2 buzzards. I did them with my ginger cakes as well. Just cut the very bottom off just to flatten them. Just use some of my white icing with a bit of orange food colouring. Next, I'm gonna, each of these roulardes are going to be coated in the icing as well. So I'll get that done. We'll get this video posted, and then I'll do a final video of the finished cake, because all I'm doing now is putting icing over everything I've baked so far.